What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and in today's video, I'm going to take you through some of my favorite picks for this upcoming set on the NFL. Not going to lie to you guys, been absent for a few days. I've had a couple of big events. I was on a yacht last night, drinking till the early hours, and man, at my age, you do not bounce back very well at all. I spent all day on the lounge, on the couch, watching Power, and just sitting there stunned, hungover as hell. But I still got some picks for you guys, so we'll get through that today. But I want to apologize if the energy's just not there. First, a quick announcement before we get to the picks, though. NBA, only a couple of days away. I do have my season package. It's still available. You can check that out. Links in the video description below. Pretty much, it's a 60% discount. Every single bet that I make throughout the whole NBA season, you'll get access to it, as well as unit recommendations. But I know you're here for some NFL picks. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's go. Jumping into Outlier as you always do. Outlier, one of my favorite tools when it comes to picking my player props. If you're interested, you can check that out in the video description below. And the first player that I want to talk you guys through is Diontae Johnson from the Carolina Panthers. I haven't overly prepared this write-up, so apologies if it doesn't seem to make too much sense, but let me see how we can go. So for Diontae Johnson, I do like his over in his receiving yards, over 64.5. Looking at the season, he's covered this in 3 out of 6 games so far. Great matchup here against Washington. Bottom 5 in terms of receiving yards allowed to wide receivers. Now, why do I like this play? Pretty much since Andy Dalton's taken over as quarterback for the Panthers, he's significantly improved, like most players have. He's recorded 78, 23, 83, and 122 yards in the 4 games with Andy Dalton, right? So 3 out of the 4 games with Dalton as quarterback. And the matchup is excellent, like I just said. If you think about the game script, I think that should also work in the favor here. 8.5-point underdogs, the Carolina Panthers. So if they're trailing in this game, they're going to have to throw, and the matchup is excellent for that. Diontae Johnson was questionable leading into this one, but looks like he's going to play, and I think he has a great game here. Diontae Johnson, let's not oversell it here. Over 60.5 receiving yards. So that's my first pick. The next one I do like, and you guys know I like my running backs. We're looking at Kyren Williams in the Battle of LA. We've got the Raiders versus the Rams, and I do like his over in rushing yards. I think I got it at 88 or 89. I'm not sure what it was, but regardless, it doesn't look like the line has moved too much, so you'll be able to get a good number here. Now let's talk about it. He's hit this in 2 out of 5 games this season. He's averaging 72 rushing yards per game, 89, 94, and 102 in his last 3. Matchup here is pretty nice. The Raiders not very good at defending the ground. Bottom 2 overall, bottom 2 when it comes to running backs. Now, this Raiders just traded Davante Adams, and I'm pretty sure that makes it pretty clear to everybody that they're somewhat tanking this season. They're not giving themselves a chance, right? So we anticipate they're going to be falling behind in a lot of games. And if they do that here against the Rams are just going to run the ball all over them. So a bit of positive run game scripts I'm predicting here, which is why Kyren Williams, not only is his line quite high based on what he averages, but I think it's why he clears 100 today. He's gone over in 2 out of the 5 games, like I just said. The Raiders, they concede the 5th most rushing yards per attempt, which is not good. Williams, Excel. They've also struggled to handle a lot of running backs who I would say are very similar to Kyren Williams. We've got Jay Dobbins, he had 135 yards. Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry kills everyone. He had 84 yards. Chuba Hubbard, my man, he got over 100 yards on them. Najee Harris got 100 yards on him. And there's also a home game here for Kyren Williams. And at home, he has been so much better. If we look at, this is just this season, 2 games at home, 89 and 102. But even if you just checked his home games last season, pretty strong as well. So in his last 6 home games, he's been an absolute beast. So I'm liking the Rams to control this game. Run first game script, Kyren Williams pretty much run all over this team. They're not good at defending the run. So I think that's a good pick there. Kyren Williams, I like his over in rushing yards. Talking about rushing yards, looking at my man Kenneth Walker, and I do like his rushing yards as well. And I'm swaying like crazy. You guys can't see me swaying, but I was on this yacht for a very long time, and like things are moving like this. And I know nothing actually is, but that's how it feels. Everything in my mind is swaying like crazy. But I managed to find the prop here. Kenneth Walker, he's over. Now, he's only played 4 games this season. 2 excellent games on the ground and then 2 pretty poor games on the ground. The game where the Seahawks lost, games he didn't do much work on the ground whatsoever. Now, up against Atlanta Falcons today, and on paper, it looks like a fantastic matchup. The Falcons not great at defending the run game at all, mid-tier to running backs, but bottom 10 overall. Every single running back that has played against them has managed to go over this line that they've set for Kenneth Walker. Chuba Hubbard got 92, even White got 72, Kamara 77, Carson Steele got 72 yards, Saquon got 95 yards on them, and Harris got 70 yards. So Walker, he's only hit this in 2 out of the 4 games this season, but given the matchup, given the game script, they're going to run the ball a lot more, and I think Kenneth Walker has a lot to do with that. So I'm not overly concerned about what happened in the last 2 weeks. A lot of that is coming basically the Seahawks playing from behind. But if you want to play it safe, you could also do a pivot and look at his rushing and receiving yards, because in the last 2 weeks, he has been receiving a lot more, but that's because they've been chasing points. I like rush yards, being completely honest with you. That's what I place my money on. But there's at least if you think the Seahawks can win this game, then Kenneth Walker to get some yards on the ground is a really good look. The next one is for AJ Brown. Now, he hasn't played many games this year, AJ Brown, but I do like him today against the Giants, and I'm looking at over his receiving yards. So this season, he's only played in the 2 games, cleared 100 receiving yards in both of those games, right? So a man is feasting. Good for fantasy team as well. I think I drafted AJ Brown very early in my draft, and my man got injured, but really happy to see him back. Now, up against the Giants not very great at defending a lot of the wide receivers like AJ Brown. If we go through the wide receivers that they've had to face, we saw T. Higgins get 77, Jamar Chase hit 72, Lockett had 75, CD 98 yards, and Amari Cooper had 86 yards. And that's all happened in the last 4 weeks. So the G-men, they're letting the yards flow. Now, AJ Brown, the clear number 1 target in this game for the Philadelphia Eagles. And he's got the massive potential to make big gains. So I honestly think there's some value there on taking him for 100. His line's at 69.5. Let's take that. So I'm all over AJ Brown. Hopefully he can lead my fantasy team to success, but hopefully he keeps continue to dominate the way that he has. So give me that AJ Brown over his receiving yards. Next up, we're looking at my man Tyreek Hill, taking him over in his receiving yards as well. I know it's a risky play given the whole quarterback situation there in Miami, but Tyreek Hill at 54 yards, how do you not take this? You know what I'm saying? So I like Tyreek Hill's over. Now, coming off a bye, he does have the extra week to get on the same page as Huntley. With 2 quarterback, Tyreek's line's always 85 plus, right? So 54 plus, it's a discount, and he's got a great spot here. They're playing at an indoor stadium against a really weak pass D. He's the most explosive player in the league, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him clear this in one play. Did wrap 69 receiving yards last week. 2 weeks ago prior to the bye. So the potential is there even with Huntley at quarterback. So give me that. I'm going for Tyreek. I think there's massive value here. I know the whole quarterback situation is not great, but I think Tyreek can do it. So this Colts team, absolutely dreadful. They've given up yards to everybody. So I don't know how I could avoid such a line for someone like Tyreek Hill. Last week, targeted 10 times, got 6 receptions. Colts allowing the 7th most yards to wide receivers this season. So it's pretty much simple as that. I'm not going to bore you and waste your time and go on it for too long, but I do like Tyreek Hill as well. And the last pick, I wasn't sure if I was going to share this one with you guys because I know I'm getting this video out late, and hopefully this game hasn't already started by the time you're watching this video, but we're looking at Demario Douglas. I know it's a really early game, but I'm looking at his over. And we're looking at over 46.5 receiving yards. I think this opened at 41, 42. Actually, I opened at 36. My Lord. Okay. 36, been bet all the way up to 50 in some places. So the line continues to sky for Demario Douglas. And why do we like him? Basically, he covered in 3 out of 6 games this season, 92 yards last week against the Houston Texans. He had really become the go-to receiver for this Patriots squad. And hey, Drake May is in the lineup, and he targeted him like crazy. It's a matchups up against the Jags, and the Jags, they leak a ton of yards to wide receivers, pretty much at the bottom of the league. So game script wise, believe the Jags are still favored to win this game, and they probably do. But I do think the Patriots are going to force a throw, and Drake May got to let that thing go. Demario Douglas is number one target. Give me that. I got a few more picks that I wanted to share, but honestly, I feel terrible. I am hungover as hell, so I'm going to cut this shit short. I don't even know if I'm going to edit it. I'm just going to upload it so you guys can jump on and see. For those of you in my winnable, I posted these picks a couple of hours ago, plus more. But if you're interested, you can always check that out as well. But really excited for this NBA season coming, man. Check out the season pass. You can buy that. Ride with me this whole NBA season. It's going to be amazing. And look, I'll probably get a video out on the NBA tomorrow, hopefully. Give you guys a couple of days notice. And given it's a small opening slate, I can really dive in deep, show you guys some new tools that I'm using. It's going to be awesome. But I appreciate y'all if you made it this far into the video. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Put some more comments and plays in. Something that I may have missed, because I know I probably missed out on many of them. But hey, we do the best we can in what we got. But hopefully I'll wake up tomorrow feeling fresh as a daisy, and then we can get back into a regular rhythm of these things. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.